Everybody ready back there?
Film's rolling. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I've never done this before. No, I'm just teasing. Just got back from OKC and the Clippers last night. OKC. But first off, I'm happy to be here today, and I'm happy you guys showed up for this wonderful thing that's going to happen Friday. To make a long story short, how we got to this day is my wonderful mother. She just turned 82 this past May, but when she was 79, she just, if you have a mother, if you have a grandmother, you have an important woman in your life and they say something to you, she says, baby, I'm getting old. You promised me you would graduate. And I said, Mom, I'm good. I'm 54 years old. NBA TV, TNT, they're good to me. I said, I would never dream that I'd get done playing basketball and I work right across the street where I went to school. Like, that's, being in year 17 now now we're Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers bought Turner. But to fathom that I'm in year 17 doing my second love and still around my first love, which is playing the game of basketball. So lastly, I'll share is that I was just telling who's coming in that my mom was in the hospital last couple of days. She's going to get out today. So I feel a lot better about her being here on Friday. And what I told her is that, Mom, you've done something different. Normally when teammates and family members come together, it's normally someone's passed away or it's been the tragic. I said, by you challenging me to go back to school and finishing my degree, I haven't seen Matt Geiger, I haven't seen some of the teammates that are coming on Friday. I can't remember last time I seen Johnny McNeil. So things like that for me, I had to share with my mom that you're bringing all of us back together by challenging me in my 50s to do something that I promised her I would do. So that's why we're here today. Now I'm open up for questions.
Okay, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Chad, why don't we start?
When this went down in the summer, what did your mom say when you told her?
She just kind of gave me one of her normal smiles that I knew you could do it. And throughout my whole life, all the different adversities I've had, it's always been a side of me where when I lock in and get focused and use my stubbornness to get me right, which we all know my freshman and sophomore year, they were solid years, but then when I locked in, junior year speaks for itself.
Rod?
How were you notified, first of all, and secondly, what went through your mind when you got that notification that, hey, they're going to do it?
Well, first of all, I got to give the powers that be, the committee, a lot of credit because they connected with NBA TV, and the producer that night, name is Bert Bondi, he knows how much I love being on the court and doing demonstrations. So that particular night, I was preparing myself to do a demonstration of the finals of what Luka's doing, how you get this trap, and Boston's doing this. The next thing I know, Damien turns the corner, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? What's going on? And I was genuinely surprised because I was locked into work mode.
Just for those of you that don't know, Coach Stoudemire and Jay Batt, our athletic director, went over there with a jersey number 4 to present to him in the studio that night. And
That's how they got me. That's how they got me.
Yeah. Luke, next in the back.
Dennis, last year you got inducted into the Orlando Magic Ring of Honor. This year, having an honor at Georgia Tech for your two places that you really love for your basketball career. What does it mean for you to achieve such high honors for those?
This has been a very, very emotional, monumental, and I think, to your question, recognition on how I played the game. Also, I went into the Washington, D.C. Basketball Hall of Fame as well. So that Hall of Fame, the Magic, but if I'm being brutally honest, this is still the best of coming back, wearing this jacket, going to South Africa, getting my master's. That, to me, at my age and what I've been through, I think was more challenging and I can say just as gratifying as well.
Dennis, I'm looking at your stats from your college days at Georgia Tech, the glory days. This is hypothetical. If you were on the team today, how many three-point attempts per game might you take?
Ooh. I've had coaches tell me that if I didn't take at least 12 to 15 a game, they would take me out the game. So I said, I guess I'm never coming out the game then, because I'm going to take at least 15 if that's the going rate. And I say a lot on NBA TV as well that I know the game has changed. A lot of guys are taking them, but when the wrong guys take them, then I think it gives a bad message to how the game has changed for the better. But for guys like myself who made their names doing that, and now everyone's doing it, I do scratch my hands sometime, and I tease my mom. She told Dad to go get some groceries and come back. Maybe I'll be born today.
To follow that up, how old were you when you realized that you had a shooting touch that maybe your friends or peer group did not have as far as hitting that deep shot?
Oh, great question. I'd probably say my junior year in high school, because what's different, if you remember, after practice, guys would always hang around and try to dunk. Who can do the one-hand dunk? Who can throw it off the backboard? Well, I knew I wasn't super athletic, so I was never doing that. I was always shooting from half court, shooting from the hash mark. Then I realized I was the only one out there doing that. So that's where the whole for me is that when the game slows down, that's where your true basketball knowledge kicks in. And when you watch basketball today, college, high school, NBA, if someone can't shoot, what do? They back up off them. I've never had that problem.
You talked about your teammates getting together for this on Friday, and all the names that's in the rafters already, and coaches and everything. Just talk about how much of an honor it is to see your name go up there with all the greats in Georgia Tech history.
It's I'm super excited because I remember one of the first relationships I built was through Mr. and Mrs. Roger Kaiser, and knowing how of a class gentleman he is, and he was always respectful from day one when I stepped foot on here as a freshman. And every year I would come back, he would always greet me with warm arms. So he's the first person that comes to mind because he set the stone for all of us to want to be here at Tech.
There you go.
This honor happening against Georgia, does that mean anything to you? Can you bring us into the rivalry and that kind of thing?
I had mixed feelings on that at first because I thought it should have been against the ACC school, but I thought about it. I said, well, I still hate Georgia too. Since it's the closest thing I carry red around ever. So I take that back. I did an event for Adobe down in Orlando a few weeks ago, if you follow me on social media, and it killed me to wear red shoes. And I said, well, only because Adobe, that's y'all's color, but it's the only time I'm ever going to wear red shoes. So then I got over and said, let's kick Georgia's butt.
Anybody else got a question? Come on.
It's easy. Oh, it's easy.
Not to be too personal, I have a vague recall that when you were contemplating leaving, quote unquote, early after your junior year, and tell us, if you would, what you can share about you and Bobby Crimmon's interactions on that decision, that process.
Great question, because let me say this and I'll come back. The reason we're here is the reason I left. Because my mom was in a one-bedroom apartment, and I was sleeping on the couch when I went home in the summer times. So that's why that summer of my sophomore year, why I went to summer school, that if you didn't know that, I went to summer school because I didn't want to go home and sleep on the couch. So that is why I left school, is to take care of her. And now I come back to finish taking care of her. So the conversation with Bobby was easy because we had just come off a successful run. We're going to the Final Four. And we had good relationships with different general managers. And that's why I tell everyone today is, if you have good connections with people that can give you good information, that was the key. And all the information we had gotten that year is the worst I would go was 5 in the draft. And I went 4. And I called Bobby and I said, thank you. Because without doing your due diligence, you're not getting the proper information to make a sound decision. And that's why it was right for me. Great question.
Dennis, college basketball landscape has changed so much over the last couple of years. You part of a great team, Lethal Weapon 3, very iconic in college basketball history. How do you describe for people that didn't witness it, don't remember it, that era and what you were able to do at that time in college basketball?
When you recruited back then, you weren't really thinking one and done. You weren't thinking two and done. You weren't thinking leaving school until you had a type of success and then they called you. I think that's the biggest thing in sport. So Brian's a senior, I'm a junior, and obviously Kenny's a phenom. You see what I mean? Malcolm was Malcolm, Johnny was Johnny, so now that completed our team. So it's hard. So Damon and I was talking about it. You know, it's like it's hard to build a good team now because of the portal, because you got to revamp. Like you look around the college landscape, every school has 6 new guys. Like it's mind-boggling to me. How do you do it? And then to follow up with that, someone asked me the other day if you were in the same situation when you were coming, I probably would stay in school. If there's NIL and they say, hey, man, we're going to give you $3 million to stay in school, because remember, I'm the #1 player in the country. We're going to give you $3 million to stay in school. Hey, Mom, we're staying in school because now you can get out that damn apartment now. I probably stay. So that's where it's because of the, what's the right word to use? Of being pure. I think we were a little more pure back then that we wanted to go to college. We wanted to be on TV, college basketball. Where now kids today, if someone tells you you're pretty good, oh, I'm one and done. Or if I'm unhappy the first week of school, I'm calling home and I'm transferring. Huh? My first week, I was scared too. But I couldn't go home or call home and say, let me transfer. So that's the only small thing for me right now, the landscape that's kind of, we got to tighten that up a little bit.
Okay, Rod and then Alex.
Were there any one or two events or more here in your career at Georgia Tech that stand out to you?
I know the Carolina shot gets a lot of juice, rightfully so, but one of my favorite shots is still the first ever Big East ACC Challenge. We played at Hartford, Connecticut, and Bobby, for some reason, couldn't sleep that night. I don't know if it's because of his family or whatever. He just was, I said, Bobby, we're good, we're good. Now, I had no idea I was going to bank and do a buzzer beater and have that type of game, but it was just one of those weird nights that Bobby was uneasy, Kenny was Kenny. We're close to New York, so that means the hotel had about 45 people from New York talking about, yo, Kenny. And we had a great game, and I think that was my first time getting 40 in that challenge. So that is one of those nights, it just felt weird. And the hotel was crazy, and well, that whole season, the hotel, everywhere we went, it was a little bit crazy, but that night really sticks out to me.
I guess talk about the program now, and with Damon at the head of it, just talk about how excited you are to see this program building and kind of hopefully getting back to the glory days like you guys used to have in the 90s.
Dame knows this. I can't tell all of my secrets, but I've had my hands on a few things that's going on, and I told Dame my phone's always open, doors always open, because I want beyond the glory days. It's time to win one. Paul did a hell of a job getting us to one more step than we did getting to the final game. Now it's time to win it. And we have to get players like myself, the Derek Favors. We all know in this room it's hard to win a championship if you don't have horses, period. So how do we help Damon get the horses like we had, where I think Bobby had, 8 out of 10 freshman of the year when Bobby was hot? How do we get those type of guys in, but also have guys that want to be here for 4 years too? Because you got to have a mixture of both. That's just the reality of the way sports is.
You have one more?
Yeah, just one more. Dennis, I'd asked you this a few years back. You gave me a different answer. the night you broke the single game 3-point record in the NBA, you said you were sick, that you had the flu. Was it the original flu game?
No. Mike still has that one. But I was sick that night. My assistant at the time, Darlene Jackson, she'll be here. She's another one of those, and I'll share this too, that a lot of the people that are coming on Friday, I have a lot of special females in my life. So the apartment complex I'm referring to, Darlene Jackson, she was the one that took me to every SAT tutoring class I had to take because I failed the first one, right? Then Mindy Millard Stafford. Some of y'all may have heard that name before. Her and I need to write a book, if I'm being very honest. So after my sophomore year, had a good year, I'm averaging 20 points, everything's going good. Bobby comes to me and says, I want you to meet this lady. I said, okay, Bobby. He said, because you're fat. I'm honest. He said, because you're fat. I said, Bobby, I'm averaging 20 points a game. First team this, second team that. The hell are you talking about? You're still fat. Mindy says, what do you like to do outside of playing basketball? I said, I love to swim. Because in the Boys and Girls Club growing up, that's what I'd always be in the pool. So it's a true story, if you've done your homework, that Mindy Millard Stafford and I would be in the pool twice a day, and then I would do my court work the whole summer after my junior year. So when I came back, that's why if you look at my sophomore picture and you look at my junior picture, that's two different people. And I literally lost anywhere in between 20, 25, maybe 30 pounds that summer. And that was the key reason, obviously, why I had such success that year. So I owe a lot to her. And then lastly, Ramona Howard, she's the one of the assistant deans over at the Scheller School. In the first 2 weeks, I thought, what the heck have I gotten myself into? And she talked me off the ledge many times over the last 2 years on a Saturday night, and I'm in grad school at 9 o'clock at night, like, what the hell am I doing here? So those small stories for me, I get emotional when I tell them because those women are important women in my life, along with my mother, that helped me be here today.
Anybody else have a question? Okay. Dennis?
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Chad here?
Yes. Appreciate you, Bubba. Good to see you.